So Paco Rabanne just released another Invictus flanker. Is it going to be better than the rest? Stay tuned and find out. Alright, so today's video is going to be another unboxing, first impressions, and update video. This time it comes from the house of Paco Rabanne. It is their latest Invictus flanker, Invictus Onyx. So Invictus Onyx from the house of Paco Rabanne is a men's woody aquatic fragrance released in 2020. The noses behind this fragrance are Olivier Polge, Dominique Rapion, Anne Filippo, and Veronique Nyberg, and this is an eau de toilette concentration. Alright, let's check out the presentation. Alright, so here's the box for Invictus Onyx. This is a limited edition fragrance, so it did come in a very different box. I believe this is a kind of a thin metal box. It does say Invictus Onyx here on top. Does come with a plastic sleeve with the name on there. As you can see, there's a cardboard sort of cool looking holder here. You just put the bottle right inside. Other than that, not too much going on in this box. Let's check out the bottle. Alright, so here's the bottle for Invictus Onyx. As you can see, this is very similar to the other bottles in the line. This just comes in all black. Has a nice, this really isn't cracked, but it does look like it's cracked. I believe it's just painted on the bottle here. But it looks pretty cool. It's got the cracked glass on here. It does say Paco Rabanne on the back and Invictus here on top. I do like the black color on this bottle. Other than that, not too much going on in this bottle. Alright, so here are the notes for Invictus Onyx. In the top we have grapefruit, sea notes, and mandarin. In the mid we have laurels and jasmine. And in the base, you round things off with guaiac wood, moss, patchouli, and ambergris. Yeah, so I do have a little bit of experience with the Invictus line. I have tried, I think, all of them. One of my favorites being I believe the 2016, the frosted bottle version of Invictus Aqua. And I really liked Invictus Legend. That was probably my favorite overall because it had better performance than I think all the other Invictuses combined. This one is an EDT, so I was a little disappointed in that. It's also a limited edition, so probably, you know, they don't need to really make it stronger if it's not going to be around for very long. But I do like this presentation. I'm hoping this one goes away from the other fragrances from the line, just because those are kind of similar. It's got to have some similarities because it's, you know, they wouldn't put, you know, the Invictus name on it if it didn't. But I'm hoping it's different enough to really warrant another purchase, because I do really like the DNA, but they're very similar. So if, you know, if you smelled one, you've kind of smelled them all. So I'm hoping this one really stands out. But yeah, looking forward to trying this one. So let's give this fragrance the first impression. All right, here we go. Clean hand. Good sprayer as always. Okay. Yeah, still getting the Invictus DNA, which was pretty standard. Like I said a second ago, when you smell them, you know, you smell one, you smell them all. It's starting to change a little bit, but that opening is right now, just in my brain, a dead ringer for Invictus. You know, a little bit sharper woods in this one. A little more floral, probably from the jasmine. But the top is very, very similar to the original Invictus. And I was hoping it would really go away from that. I mean, I was hoping just a touch of the original DNA and just something completely different. But right now, this one really isn't blowing me away. Sort of stuck in the Invictus sort of mode with this one. It's nice, don't get me wrong. I'm getting the DNA and it's starting to turn into something else slowly. But right now, it's still reminding me too much of the original Invictus to really be wowed in the first couple of minutes. This one's starting to turn sweeter. Starting to get a bit of a sexiness with this one. Not really sure where that's coming from. But it's definitely getting sweeter and a little bit thicker, a little creamier. But overall, still keeping the same notes it opened with. Slowly getting green. Keeping the fruitiness, a little powdery in the air. Yeah, right now I'm not having my socks blown off by this one. Not really different enough to go ahead and say this one's, you know, going to be completely unique. I'm getting a candied sweetness now that I'm starting to like. Not really reminding me of anything else, but it does smell almost like a Tootsie Pop, like a cherry Tootsie Pop. Not really sure what's giving it that, but it smells nice. But I think this fragrance is going to definitely need more than a few wearings to really dissect what's going on with this one, because I'm getting a lot of that original Invictus DNA that's kind of turning me off a little bit. It's kind of making me afraid that it's just going to kind of stick around the DNA of the original Invictus and just sort of hang around there and not really change too much. I was really hoping this would go down a different avenue. I mean, it's starting to change a little bit. Definitely getting candy sweeter. But other than that, can't really pinpoint too many other things right now. So I'm going to give this fragrance a few more wearings, wear it tonight, and over the next couple of days, give you guys an update shortly. Talk to you then. Alright, well, I'm back with my update for Invictus Onyx from the house of Paco Rabanne. So I spent the last couple of days with this fragrance, and I gotta say, I do like this fragrance, but I don't love it. There is some good and bad news with this fragrance. I guess some of the good news would be that the performance was a little bit better. Better than I thought anyway for an EDT. We'll talk more about the performance in a minute. Also, another piece of good news is that this does sort of change into something else, which is a good thing. We'll talk more about that in a sec. But the bad news is that it smells a lot like the original Invictus or Invictus Aqua, which could be good news if you guys like that opening. It's not a bad opening by any means. It's already been done before. It is a flanker, but it smells very similar to the original, so might be a little bored with that opening. You know, if you guys have already bought the flankers in the past, this one does have a very similar opening. But like I mentioned before, it does change into something else. And another piece of bad news, I guess, would be that this one really reminded me of another fragrance. Took me a couple of wearings to really figure it out. And it's not all a bad thing. It's just up here, it reminds me of something else. And that is Cambridge Night from the House of English Laundry. Now, if you guys go to Fragrantica, people compare this one to Invictus. Now, when you try these side by side, they don't really seem that similar. If you try this one alone without smelling Invictus or Invictus Onyx, you're gonna see the differences pretty quick if you try them together. But if you don't, you'll be able to see the similarities between an Invictus type fragrance and Cambridge Night. The biggest similarity that I saw, and the reason why I thought this one, the Onyx, reminded me of Cambridge Night, was the dry down. Now, this is how I describe the dry down. Some people out there might not describe the dry down like I do, but I do get like a dryer sheet kind of smell with the Cambridge Night, and I get the same dry down with the Onyx. Now, I sort of went to Fragrantica and I was like, all right, well, the dry down really reminds me of Cambridge Night, so I'm gonna go compare the notes, and they were pretty surprising. The Onyx altogether has 9 notes in the composition, and the Cambridge Night has 11. This is per Fragrantica, and I did find that 7 of the notes were shared between these two. They did share the C notes. They also shared the laurels, which the laurels is in Onyx. Bay leaf, I believe, is in the Cambridge Night, but apparently they're the same thing per Fragrantica, or very similar per Fragrantica. They both share patchouli, jasmine, grapefruit. I believe the Onyx has moss, and this one has oak moss, and they both have gaiac wood. So that was pretty telling on why they were similar. Again, not a deal breaker. And if you did like Cambridge Night, but maybe thought it didn't perform as good, or just maybe didn't have a better smell than like an Invictus type of fragrance, then you're gonna like Onyx, because I did think this was a better version of Cambridge Night. The Onyx reminded me of that one, but it had a better opening. It had that Invictus or Invictus Aqua, really nice, fresh, fruity opening that everyone likes, and I approve of that opening. It's a great opening, don't get me wrong. But I did like the dryer sheet dry down that I got from this. And again, you guys might not agree with me on that, and that's fine, but that's what I got out of it. That's how I describe Cambridge Night, and that's how I'll describe the dry down in this. It's just got that dryer sheet, that warm, spicy, kind of fruity, sort of powdery dry down that I really like about this fragrance. So this fragrance is good, but not great. Longevity for this fragrance was average for an EDT. I did get 6 to 8 hours with this fragrance. The first day I wore just like a normal amount of sprays, about 6 sprays, and I got about 6 hours. And you could sort of still get it after the 8th hour, around the 8-hour mark. You could still smell it, but it wasn't as strong as it was around the 6-hour mark. But the next day I did go with 8 to 10 sprays, went on a little heavier, sprayed it a little closer to get more juice on my skin, and I did get 8 hours. So it really all depends on how many sprays you use. But 6 to 8 hours isn't bad for this fragrance. Projection for this fragrance was average. Like most fragrances, the first couple of hours were the strongest, but with this fragrance, it did get a lot closer to the skin after that 2-hour mark. So it's very average when it comes to that. It is an EDT. I wasn't expecting to fill up a room with this one. Again, the first couple of hours were really nice, but after that, it gets really close to the skin. Seasons for this fragrance, so if you guys haven't guessed already, it's going to be the warmer to hotter months of the year. So spring and summer are definitely going to be the best seasons for this fragrance. Occasion for this fragrance, well, I do think this fragrance is appropriate for all occasions. I think it's fresh enough in the opening for a nice casual wear during the day. I think it's not too strong that you couldn't wear it to the office. You're definitely not going to offend anybody around you. With that dry down, though, I do think it's very sexy. I do think it's very alluring, which is good for the evening events. I think this would be a great fragrance for date night, evening out, suit and tie. I don't think it's strong enough for a club, but definitely casual day wear, and most evening events are perfect for this fragrance. Ages for this fragrance for right now, since this is still a new release, I'm going to say 25 and up. This is still selling for retail, which is about $94 before tax, which is a little steep for the younger guys. But I do think that this juice is safe enough for the younger guys. I just think right now, with the price tag, maybe 25 and up, we'll be able to afford this one and probably appreciate the dry down. I do think the dry down is not going to be for everybody. Maybe a little more mature because it's going to be a little different with that dryer sheet dry down. It's not just going to be fruity all the way through like the previous releases. But I do think the 25 and up is a perfect age range for this fragrance. So overall, I do like this fragrance, but I don't love it. I mean, yeah, it's cool that it reminded me of Cambridge Night. And if you like this fragrance, but you just didn't think it, smelled natural enough, then you're going to want to try Invictus Onyx, because it really did remind me of this one. This is just a better version of Cambridge Night. Everyone compared this one to Invictus first, so it's only fair to really say this is just a better version of Cambridge Night. I think it just has a better opening, better dry down, all around. But, it does remind me too much of the original, and we've already been there and done that. Yes, it's a flanker, so I'm not trying to pick on it too much. I know it's supposed to remind you of the other ones and sort of go in a different direction, and that's what it did. But that opening is very similar to the previous releases of Invictus, and it's been sort of beaten to death. You guys, it's like it's been done before so many times. People are just going to start laughing at these releases because they're not different enough. Now, I do think that the one that came out, I believe it was the Eau de Parfum or whatever that came out last year, that one went too far away from the original. Like, I thought I got some of that original DNA, and I sort of got a little bit of that, the one DNA, but overall it was a completely different composition. So that's going too far with that, on that end of things. But this one is just too similar to the original Invictuses. Now, I will say again, if you like the Cambridge Night smell, the dryer sheet, dry down, you're going to like this fragrance. It gets decent performance. I believe I got better performance with this one than I did with previous releases of Invictus and Aqua. I believe Legend is probably the best of the bunch when it comes to the projection and longevity. But this one is no slouch. I mean, again, it wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. And I mentioned it is good for a lot of occasions. Very versatile. Day wear and night wear. So that's, something good. I definitely think you guys should try this one. Try it before you buy it. Who knows? Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll get this one and you'll like it and you'll want to sell all the other Invictus flankers in your collection because you'll like this one more than all of them. And I guess if I had to choose, I would probably pick Legend first and then maybe this one second. And I would put all the other ones away. Invictus Aqua was pretty good, the 2016 version. But the opening of this one is pretty similar to that. So maybe I'm getting the best of both worlds and I just get to keep 2 bottles. So who knows? Right now, I think the stores are slowly starting to open back up. So you can probably go to your local Macy's or Dillard's and check this one out. Maybe you can get your hands on a sample. So, nice fragrance. Definitely try before you buy. I like it, but I don't love it. All right, guys, now it's your turn. Has anyone out there tried the new Invictus Onyx? What are your thoughts on this fragrance? Let me know your experience with this fragrance down in the comments below. All right, thank you guys so much for watching the video on my channel. If you like this video, please click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on those notifications for future First Impressions videos and fragrance-related content just like this. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Dollars and Cents. There, you'll find fragrance-related photos and future contest winners. And as always, until next video, you guys take care. Thanks.